Raised in Bethlehem, he brings deep lived experience to his work at the intersection of spirituality and justice. For decades, Sami has invited individuals and communities to practice courageous love and non-violent transformation. Sami Awad, it's a great honor and privilege to have you here with us in the Unity Earth Symposium.
Yes, thank you, Ben. It is deeply an honor for me to be with you and to be after these amazing speakers that spoke in front of me. And welcome to the Middle East. Look forward to welcoming you here. And it is an honor for me to be part of Unity Earth as well. And thank you for the invite on short notice. To share a little bit about myself, as you said, my name is Sami Awad. I am a Palestinian. I live in the little town of Bethlehem, where an amazing man was born over 2,000 years ago, who had an amazing and beautiful message. And sadly, over centuries and millennium, that message was more and more distorted, more and more removed from its essence. As a Palestinian, I grew up living under occupation. We still live under occupation. We still live in injustice. We live in a situation where our existence as a people is on the line. Many of you have witnessed through your screens what happened in the last 2 years in the Gaza Strip. Many of you are witnessing what is happening to many of us in the West Bank today, with the raids of violence by Jewish gangs, Israeli settler Jewish gangs towards Palestinians. This is a land that has experienced war and conflict for a very, very long time, which puts us in the question, how do we step out of this space? And what we are living in the Holy Land, and I still call it the Holy Land, is a microcosm of what we are living globally. What is happening here is not different than what's happening in other parts of the world where we are seeing fascism, racism, violence grow. We're seeing systems that promised human rights and democracy collapse in front of our eyes. We're seeing international law being ignored and neglected by those who are in power because they feel they are above humanity and international law and human rights. And this is where such symposium become very, very important for all of us. Become very important not to bypass the reality of violence, not to step out of it, but part of what we need to ask if we want to spiral up is how do we move through and with and in the violence itself? How do we address issues of injustice and violence that we face in our life? And this has been my journey. This has been my journey to really begin to ask these questions. I grew up in a Christian heritage, a Christian background of a family. And I always jokingly like to say that, when I speak to many people in the West, one of the questions they ask me is when did you convert to Christianity? And the assumption is that there were some white missionaries that came to my land and converted us as Palestinians, and we became Christians. And I jokingly said, I say to them usually is, my conversion probably happened 2,000 years ago, following a man who taught in this land. And one of my big disappointments is that we converted you and you took it off track and made it into some religion of institution and hierarchy and patriarchy and domination and violence. And so my journey over the last few years was to study the teachings of Jesus, independent of religion, independent of institutions. And what I found in his teachings was an amazing person who went through his own personal transformation journey into consciousness, in what he defined as kingdom consciousness, maybe a term that doesn't fit in our language today, but what we would call the beloved community consciousness, the oneness of humanity. And in that consciousness, he also taught us how to move in that consciousness. He wasn't about people believing in him and that he died for our sins so that we would have life in the afterlife. It was about how we live and manifest this consciousness on earth today. And I know that many people around the world are engaging in consciousness work, spirituality, enlightenment spaces. And I want to challenge a lot of what's happening in this world, because many of us who are engaging in this are disconnecting from what is. We feel as if we have gained some insight that makes us look at others as different, that they are living an illusion and we are entering into reality. And what I want to invite us is to look at this as still we are trapped in that old consciousness, in the consciousness of patriarchy, in the consciousness of duality, in the consciousness of us and them, in the consciousness of right and wrong, in the consciousness of judging those who are not like us. And I want to really challenge us in the spiritual world to really begin to understand that for us to move into the new consciousness, it means to fully be present to fully what is happening in the here and now. And this is what Jesus was teaching. Jesus was teaching us a path where, as we move into greater awareness and greater consciousness that is embedded in love and compassion and care and justice and dignity and rights of all of us, that by doing this, we have to turn the tables over in the temples. We have to speak truth to power. The test of us actually moving into the altered or the different or the new consciousness is by us resisting and standing in the face of those who are committing violence and injustice, those who are committing violence towards women, violence towards children, and violence towards the environment as well. There cannot be duality as we move in consciousness. There is only oneness, and that oneness encompasses everything. The teachings of Jesus, as I write in the book that I recently wrote, The Sacred Awakening, Reclaiming Christ Consciousness, is that path of how I, as an individual, begin to let go of the things that I am attached to, the things that I am afraid of losing that make me feel I become less if I lose these things, and then move into what are the things I need to mourn, what are the things I need to grieve. And it could be my ideology, it could be my religion, it could be my belief system, it could be what I think needs to happen in this world, and to say, I let it go. I let it go, especially anything that I'm attached to and fear. And then how do I walk in life through meekness and humbleness? How do I step into righteousness? How do I bring mercy in every conversation I engage in? How do I seek righteousness? Jesus talks about hungering and thirsting for righteousness. It is what we cannot live with, food and air and water, hunger and thirst for justice, for this sense of righteous justice for the world to see. How do I become pure in heart, the purity of seeing as if the sacred sees through me and listens through me? And how do I become a peacemaker? This is the journey of the Beatitudes that many of us have learned in church. The journey of the Beatitudes is the journey of my personal transformation. And it is completed by, blessed are you for being persecuted. One thing we need to understand as we enter into the beloved community, as we enter into the new consciousness, the old consciousness is not just going to sit back and allow this to happen. Systems and structures of power are going to try to destroy us or try to coerce us to become part of them. And this is what happened to many, many teachings of amazing spiritual practices in the past. They've become part of the system of capitalism, looking for money, looking for power, looking for ego. What we need to understand is this battle is serious, and it is a long battle that we need to engage in. And I want to end by just saying that at the core of everything, as we spiral up into this consciousness, we cannot be motivated by fear. Fear cannot be in any way motivating us in anything we behave, even our own fear of existential threat to our humanity cannot be motivating us as we spiral up into this consciousness. We need to be motivated by love. We need to be motivated by unconditional love for each other, unconditional love to those who we have labeled as enemies or those who have labeled us as enemies, unconditional love to every single human on this planet, no matter what their identity, what their belief system is, and always inviting them humbly, always inviting them into our spaces. No one should be left behind. Thank you for this opportunity to be with you, and it's a great honor to have this time to share with this symposium.
Sami Awad, wow, wow. Thank you, brother. Thank you for coming and sharing that beautiful, prophetic, resonant, personal, deeply illuminating sharing. The Sacred Awakening, reclaiming Christ consciousness. Could there be anything more important for us to be thinking about right now, and coming from the heart of the Holy Land, from Bethlehem? Sami, it's a real honor to meet you, and I hope and I get the sense we have a lot more to do together. I want to thank our common friend, Tom Fellner, for bringing us together. But you're right there in the heart of so much of the knot of the tension of humanity, and the way through, is so simple, but so difficult: to love your enemies, to love our enemies. And if we can find a way to step forward into that, as you are teaching and as you are holding and reclaiming the teachings of Jesus, then so much can be untied, and the knot can be released. And we have so much wisdom to learn from you, brother. I hope your people will go and find your book, and are looking forward to more from you, brother
Same
Sami.
wise, I am honored in this partnership with you, Ben. Thank you for the invite and
Well, stay
inviting
with
you
us
to
for
come to Palestine as well soon.